It's time to talk life, leadership, the NFL, and some other sports too, with Lou Diamond and Evan Money here on Diamond Cuts Money Talks.
Okay, we are back here. Diamond Cuts Money Talks, the DCMT podcast. I'm Lou Diamond.
And I'm Evan Money.
And we are here to talk about life, leadership, the NFL, and other sports too. Today, it's early April. Evan, how you doing, first of all? How you doing?
I'm doing absolutely tremendous, Lou. Tremendous.
We're like a couple shows in. I feel we're getting into a flow. I'm getting some good feedback. I'm going to share. Let's start off about that. Funniest line that somebody said to me was, "Wow, you have found your bald counterpart, both on the airwaves and in an animated format." As for those listeners, can check out our lovely animated artwork, the podcast art for Diamond Cuts Money Talks. So I started laughing. I go, they actually did a pretty good job. I know they use technology and they scan stuff, however they do it, but whatever. It's not as good as I saw you shared with me. You had an animated book a long time ago, right? Put together or something?
Yes, I wrote a children's book mainly for my son, and I found one of these, and this was almost a decade ago, so it tells you how good that art was.
Wow.
Yeah, that's before you had all the easy scan and all the cool apps and all that stuff. So this guy was like a hardcore, high-end, six-figure artist, and he was in between gigs, and he's just like, I'm whittling away. So I found him on one of these referral sites, where you post your work and you get to pick.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man, I'm in between corporate gigs and I just want to stay busy. I love it, man. Yeah, let's do it. And then about 3/4 of the way through, he called me. He's like, hey, I just got this big gig over at AT&T or whatever. And he's like, I'm going to have to put you on the back burner. I was like, well, for the price you're charging me, I guess so. But we finally got done. But yeah, I just, again, you look back 10 years and go, wow, it's still good today. So
we should
put out the art.
Maybe we'll put it in the podcast notes or something like that, because I'll say this.
Put it in there.
And he made you like Superman, like bulging and really strong everywhere. So impressive. It's always good to have that, the animated version of yourself. However.
And I will have to tell you too, Lou, so you've got, people are starting to take notice. NFL scouts, NFL coaches and owners are starting to take notice. So Diamond Cuts and Money Talks is making its way through the ranks of the NFL at all levels.
Oh, we like that. They got people listening and saying, what do these guys know that we don't know? And if they listened, maybe things could be a little better. But you never know. We'll find out. Hopefully they'll learn something from it. Let's kick it off, because we're going to do the same structure we did last time because it was so much fun. Trivia, timely topics, and then timeless topics. So you said I will come back on the next episode with a good trivia question for you. But you have one for me, which you wanted to queue up. So I'm game, and I'm ready to kick things off with trivia, my friend.
There we go. Actually, it's for everybody else, but you get to enjoy it.
Okay,
so here we go.
Listeners can
So what Hall of Famer was catching bricks as a youth for his bricklayer father all during the summers growing up, and during his free time was physically running down horses and catching them so he could ride them? Name this Hall of Famer.
Wow. Okay, first of all, I love the old schoolness here, literally catching bricks.
And he said, as long as my dad had a brick in his hand, things went well. And if they didn't, he was the one who got the backlash. So
well, let me do some thinking. Obviously, we know this has to be a player of somewhat in the yesteryear, probably played in the 70s, maybe 80s, because there's no chance that could be anyone in the modern day generation, because any dad throwing bricks at somebody, that could be problematic. I think they'd have child affairs after you immediately. Catching bricks and then horses. You got a cowboy. I'm gonna go. Can I? Did I gain a right perspective of the time frame? Like played in the 70s and 80s?
I'm not going to say anything. No hints. You just got to dial it in.
All right, dialed in. Well, I'm going to go. Who's real cowboy-esque? You know what? I'll go with Terry Bradshaw.
Here's what I want you to do to help you.
Yeah.
Take the polar opposite of what you just thought. So it is not that era, and it is the least cowboy-esque player.
Wow. So some kind of like city.
And I gave you a hint in the first part. I gave you a hint. What was he doing?
He was laying bricks?
No, he was what? He was what with the bricks?
He was catching the bricks. Oh, he was a receiver. So a receiver.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, see everybody lose a little slow in the update.
Okay, there we go. I missed that. I just thought I like Brooks, and I had catching the horse. Jerry Rice.
That's it.
I did not know that.
Indeed. That's right. That's right. He would have to catch them 1, 2 at a time. That's why Jerry was the great pass catcher. Because when you compare bricks and a bricklaying father to footballs, it's like, man, this is easy.
So I like that. By the way, some would argue he might be the greatest football player of all time. That's a conversation for another day.
Oh, yeah, and I'd love to have that, but I agree. I mean,
this guy's just absolutely amazing. Okay, but I do like that. Hopefully our listeners did better than I did. Terry.
Yes, and so that just gives you the standard, Lou, for your trivia next week.
My trivia will be good. I saw one that was really good, but I wanted to nail one that would be good. That's sharp. I like it. With catching bricks.
Catching bricks crazy. And physically running down horses. Because if he caught the horse, then he could ride it the rest of the day.
That's
so
amazing.
How many kids grow up running down horses? He said it took him 45 minutes to an hour to catch it.
Oh, my goodness.
But once he got it, it was like, born to run, born to catch. There you go.
So let's shift over. We are now in the first week of April, recording this April 6th. This episode will come out midweek this week, April 8th, 9th, something like that. I got my wife's birthday this week, so I got to make sure I get through that, and then we'll go through. We're not getting married in another city, but we're just going to hang out.
Eventually it's going to happen, Lou. I'm going to bring you in. You're going to see the blessings, and you're going to have that extra honeymoon. You're going to go, oh, I can't believe I thought this whole time. So I'll still work on you.
I'm with you. I'm trust me. I want to go on another honeymoon. There's nothing I want. I can't remember right now. I can't even leave the house. So going down the street to the corner would be really nice. Just a shameless plug here on the Thrive Loud podcast. This Friday, April 10th, we have the Thrive Loud quarantine episode.
Woohoo!
Recorded live 6 feet away with a guest in my driveway.
Oh, the driveway, yes.
Oh, yes. So this will be a fun one for those who want to know what life is like. I actually have a good fun guest that'll be on the program, so everyone will like it. Okay, let's go back. Timely topics. We're going to talk here about the draft. We were discussing the fact that the NFL draft is still on, and we have it planned right now. The last thing I heard this morning on the radio was that they're actually thinking of doing one round per day. So to have all the dealings and the issues of any time issues, they're going to have everyone virtual. They're practicing, doing stuff remotely. Supposedly ESPN and the NFL Network are still in conversations of recording how this all works, even though you and I are still a big fan of the virtual smoky draft room. This will be something that will be televised, and obviously the commentators will probably be in boxes all over the place, or however they do it. And but that's the plan right now, is to do a round per day as the way of doing it.
Well, here's the good news, and that could change, of course, based in these amazing times. But here's some great news. We had some new friends that we met at actually my bride and my son went to Mexico, like dirt road Mexico, not fancy Mexico, and built dirt road Mexico. My son actually loved it because
El Calle Sucio,
because there were fireworks involved, so he loved getting the fireworks. But they actually built a house with a bunch of other people that just came out of from all over the world to help build a house from scratch for a family. And the cool part was the family's building it with them, so it's not give a fish. It's almost like teach them how to fish. So they met some Canadians, and the Canadians, kind of stayed in touch, Facebook or whatever. But the good news is today, Lou, as we're recording this, all the Canadians in their province, and I should have asked ahead of time, but people can Google it. They're allowed to go outside now. They're allowed to get back to life. It's like, okay, quarantine's over. Let's get going. So the draft, I don't know if it's going to actually be on the boat and on the water anymore, but we could actually have people in a draft room, 6 feet apart. It could be more normal than we think it's going to be. So there is hope because Canada, the more stricter, is now letting people out and saying, okay, go on outside. It's okay.
We'll get there. This week will be bad, but it will get better. Yes. As this too shall pass.
That's right. And what people need at this time right now, especially all of the scouts and everybody else, is we need a draft day shocker that nobody expects. And Lou, you've been hinting, so I got to hear yours.
My draft day shocker is going to be amazing. You ready?
I'm ready. We need a drum roll. We need that.
My draft day shocker is, I want to clarify, still not as good as Cam Newton ending up on the couch from our last episode, which I've been, after hearing you say that, realizing that it's just so brilliant. It's just awesome. But my draft day shocker is as follows. One of the 32 teams is going to have a connection issue at the moment that they're giving their draft and they're going to miss a pick. They're gonna be there. They're gonna try and be online. They're supposed to be submitting it through some secure way to make sure that they do it. And something's gonna mess up in this virtual world, and there's gonna be a down outage. It's gonna happen. They're gonna miss a pick.
Oh, and you think they're gonna actually, it's a glitch. We could call it. I could see it now. The glitch pick, right?
Yes.
Like. No, we meant to get him, but no. Oh, this could live in infamy. The glitch pick. This could be as good as Bo Jackson in the 7th round for the Raiders.
It's along those lines. That's what we could be looking at right now.
I could see it happening.
That's my shocker. That's my shocker for the draft.
Now, so I could see it where they miss the pick. The team now they're scrambling because they don't know who it was, and then they pick somebody else, and then hey, we come back, and yes.
It's going to be a technical issue. They're going to be bashing however they set it up to be virtual. Now, by the way, even though they've pretty much been working this way anyway, right? They call into the draft normally in a real draft. They whoever it is from the main office, call some guy. He's the one that goes in and hands the piece of paper. Remember they used to have the helmet phones?
Oh, yes. I love the old school smoky room rotaries, man. It was or just a card, right? Well, in the old days, it was a smoking. You just walk the card up yourself and the commission. But no, I could see it. And of course, the team that it has to happen to, conspiracy theory. Well, it has to be the Raiders, of course. It's more conspiracy theory.
Yeah, yes, I could see that. My thought was that would be something that would happen to the New York Jets. But and the New York Jets. Wait a minute. The New York Jets have missed their selection. We'll get back to them. What?
Wait, no, we did it.
That's my shocker for the Jets. Do you have any, before we get to any of the player shockers, do you have any shockers?
I do. I've got a player shocker, but real quick, I just had this vision of the commissioner going up there, and we talked about this before. The commissioner, this is going to be his favorite draft again because he never has to get booed this time.
So by the way, that people will be sending in text messages in the chat room. They're going to be sending boo, boo, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Yes.
Yep. But here's the thing, and as a side gig for all those of you that feel bad for the commissioner, like I did until I realized he's got 30 million reasons a year to get over it. So
I think it's more than that.
He's very well paid. So with that, I can see your thing happening, the glitch happening. Commissioner steps up, and with the 18th pick, the Las Vegas Raiders select, and then wait, I can see him reaching for his phone. Right, he gets a text from Mark Davis. Right, we want this guy. So he reads the text. Hold on, I'll get back to you. Okay. Draft day shocker that nobody expects. Are you ready, Lou Diamond?
I am ready.
Okay, so I have to give a little segue because that's kind of me in my, ADD storyteller fashion, right? We got to set the stage here. So last year, Ron Rivera lost his job.
Correct.
Because he was all in on Cam, right?
Yes.
Remember, there's something wrong with his shoulder and none, and he's like, I'm sticking with Cam. That's 2 years ago. Sticking with Cam. The classic ride or die. So he died, obviously. Okay, so it's safe to say, based on previous performance, and go ahead, Lou, give us the stock market disclaimer. past performance does not guarantee future.
Past performance does not guarantee actual results.
Yes.
Please seek out your professional advisor to make sure that this occurs correctly under all FDIC regulations.
There we go. So it's safe to say, wouldn't you agree, Lou? It's safe to say that Ron Rivera likes the skill sets that Cam brings. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
Okay. So he loves the Cam Newton skill sets. Okay. But I'm 99.9% sure that Ron is not going to bring Cam to Washington. So let's look at Cam's measurables now. Okay. Cam's 6'5", he's 245. And in his prime, I don't know if he can run it now, but in his prime, he ran a 4.59 40. Okay. Tall, big, can run. Okay. So what if Ron could get a Cam-like skill set and Cam-like measurables, but without the big ego, without the injuries, but get a younger version who's even smarter, more cerebral, has more poise, and has great good leadership skills. And ready for his stats? He's 6'6", he's 235. He runs a 4.68 40, which is pretty close to that when you're thinking of quarterback. So the commissioner steps to the microphone. The Washington Redskins select Justin Herbert.
I was going to say from Oregon.
Yes,
that would be a big upgrade. And I think I'm with you. That could be that they have the second pick, correct? Redskins have number 2.
Yep, pick number 2.
Because I had seen a couple of mock drafts, and one of them had Justin as high as the 4th pick on the Dolphins taking him, which would very much make sense because they need a quarterback at the moment. That's a great idea, though. I like the idea. I also know that everyone's been raving about him, and the concerns with that, you're right, fits the same mold. That, I guess, might be my only question is, do you think he wants to try to divert from those physical attributes and look for something a little bit more finesse-like, I guess? Like, I would be, Tua seems to be the one that everyone thinks would be in that spot, who obviously is the exact opposite physically of that. Great points. I'm trying to see, like, if you had to choose, I mean, we could be looking at 3 quarterbacks in the top 4 picks. That's potential.
Yeah. Or trade up and top the 1, 2, 3.
Right. Exactly. That's true too.
Because if the Redskins did take Justin, there'd be a trade up because no one's really expecting it, and it'd be like, oh my gosh, I got to get this quarterback before he's gone. So it could easily go 1, 2, 3.
I'm with you, and I think that would be, I'm in agreement with you on this. That would be a shocker if Justin was picked ahead of Tua, even though people had Tua way down the draft. They had him down to like whatever, when he was still hurt, he had, gone down to the teens, but obviously he's played well or healed well. And I think
but that's the thing. Nobody knows, right? I've been practicing, so I have to give it to you. Tua Tagovailoa. So I got it now. Giannis Antetokounmpo and Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, I told you I'd come back with that.
I've been trying with Giannis. I can't do it. I just can't. My son's playing NBA N2K, whatever it is.
Yep.
I see Giannis on the court. I can't do it. I'm trying. I'm trying real hard. It would be like saying Dikembe Mutombo's entire name. You remember, like, he had like 7 other names.
Yes. Okay, fun ADD segue for the fans out
Justin
there.
Herbert. I think it's a good call, and I do think, but to me, the shocker would be that he'd be picked ahead of Tua. So
but here's why though, and then I got a fun ADD name segue for you. So he's going to get picked ahead of Tua because, like we talked about last show, Tua still has the doctors can't get to him. It's still an unknown. Justin is proven, and he has the formula, that everyone's looking for quarterbacks, right? Okay, today's world, right? He's got the college resume. He's won in college. He's tall. He's got great decision making. He's wicked smart, as you guys like to say on the East Coast.
That's a Boston thing. I want to make it clear.
Okay, yes. But he's got the intangibles that make up for it's not just the Cam prototype, right? So he brings something else to the table. And then we're going to go down another street, like you say. We're going to take a quick ADD fun segue story, and then we're going to come back down the road. What happens to Dwayne Haskins, which gets even better. So fun road. So I got a chance to hang out with, thanks to the Coach Woodfin, who married me in Green Bay. We got a chance to go visit before Clay broke the record. He was the leading sacker of the Green Bay Packers. Okay. And that was none other than, talk about the name game, right? So we've got Kabir Bajabiamila.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Who still lives in Green Bay, has an incredible house. He's now, he has a whole ministry and has a church and just an incredible thing. He's got a full-size basketball court in his home, indoor pool. I mean, it's this incredible complex that they use for the community and everything. It's fantastic. So we got a chance to meet him and hang out and stay at, he's got this cool little offshoot on his house where guests can stay. And so he came down, we got to hang out and did the whole thing. And he has, at last count, I think they're up to seven or eight kids, and they were all boys until the last one was finally a girl. So we were like, yay! But he came, we were talking with him, and he's got all of these Nigerian names for his kids. And so we're talking about his kids, and we're like, okay, well, tell us about your kids. And so he literally had to get out his phone, Lou, because he had to read off. They all have like 6 names per child. And when you got 6 kids, it's like, so he just kind of read from his phone all their full names, da, 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 da. I was like, wow, that's a lot of names. That's pretty exciting. So that was kind of a pretty cool deal. So with that, let's talk about what happens now. So Washington takes Justin Herbert. The whole draft, everybody freaks out. Everybody's trying to trade up, get a QB. What happens to Dwayne Haskins? Now, per our theme, okay, Lou, you're going to love where this is going to go. So I've got 2 potential homes for Dwayne Haskins that would be really good fits, but way out there. But
okay,
fly with me here.
I'll fly with you.
Fly with me here. And I'm going to have to say the name because that's what I do every show.
Go.
But right now,
here it comes.
Here it comes. The Dallas Cowboys would be so excited to trade for Dwayne Haskins because Jerry Jones, who we're going to mention every show, Jerry just loves a good deal. And what better than a quarterback? Because with the first-round draft pick, they get all their money up front. And now basically they don't have to pay him a $1 or $2 million a year. So he gets them on the dirt cheap. And right now, Dak's current backup, do you know who Dak's backup is right now?
I think it's Danny White.
Yes! Old school Dallas. I love it. Dak's current backup is undrafted Cooper Rush.
Oh, wow. So, yeah.
So if Dak goes down, is Cooper Rush going to save the season or at least fill in a few games or whatever? No. You bring in Dwayne Haskins. Dak is clearly the starter. And this is the ultimate scenario that Jerry would love, right? Imagine Dak goes down midseason, like hamstring tweak, nothing major. He's out 3 games, let's say, right? Or he hurts his thumb, a la Drew Brees, whatever. So Dak's out 3 games. Dwayne comes in and he plays good. He doesn't play great. He plays good. They don't ask him to do too much, but he plays solid. And people go, wow, Dwayne's matured. Wow, he wins 2 out of 3, right? So there's no, quarterback controversy, but everybody's going, wow, Dwayne's amazing. Now, come the end of the year, Jerry knows he could get a 1 and probably 2 3s for Dwayne. So I could see Dwayne going to Dallas under that scenario in the win-win-win-win. And that's all of the Bridgewater effect, with Sean Payton. But speaking of that, Lou, and then I'll let you chime in, that would be actually an even better fit. It would make more sense because Sean Payton could say, hey, you know what? We all know Taysom Hill is not going to be his starting quarterback.
No.
Okay. So you've got Drew. Drew goes down. He wants to use Taysom in all those packages. So now Dwayne steps in. And Dwayne is more, he's not that, everyone thinks, you look at the tape and all that. He's not that big of a runner. He's more of a drop back like Drew. And he could see the field. He's taller. He's got an arm. I mean, he threw 50 touchdowns, okay, at Ohio State. And beat out Joe Burrow, who's going to go number 1. So he's got some skill sets. So I think under Sean Payton, if Drew goes down, you stick Dwayne in. He's dropping bombs. Everybody's excited. Taysom can still come into the AAAs. I think those would be 2 great spots. Lou Diamond, your thoughts?
I like the thoughts. I also think, as we know, anything is possible in the draft. I even had my real shockers, which I'll give you it's not a shocker. I think a lot of people talk about it, but I think, all right. So to your Cowboys point, that's more of a long shot than the other scenario. I could see the backup scenario for New Orleans more than I can with the Cowboys, just because Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones, and he'll have some kind of issue with the Redskins former quarterback in your situation, and the Dwayne Haskins giveaway, if you would. All being said, all possible, and I do think that all these teams we're talking about are definitely going to be in the mix. It would, like, literally online chatter or whatever the hell they'll do with the NFL and the ESPN draft is going to be ridiculous watching these guys send stuff out. I kind of wish I had the ability to be on Twitter and in that draft room at the same time just to see the rumor stuff, because it would be kind of cool to see how those feeds come in. Can I share you my real shocker aside from the power going out?
But that is great. I know it's going to happen. It is going to happen. That is for sure.
It's funny that you mentioned Justin Herbert, because, as you know, I'm a Chargers fan, and the Chargers have the 6th pick in the draft, with the New York Football Giants having the 4th pick in the draft. And I can easily see a situation where the Giants and the Chargers trade again on draft day and their picks and can move. And this has been thrown around there. So I'm not giving too much of a shocker, but I could see a situation where the Chargers draft Justin Herbert. How about that?
I wouldn't say it's a shocker.
It wouldn't be a shocker. Well, the Giants would trade down their pick, get the Chargers would take up the 4th pick. I still see Tua going to the Redskins. And with that puts it in a weird spot as to what the Dolphins do. So maybe there's some other plays going on. But I could easily see Justin Herbert going in that 4th slot, because I don't believe that's where the Giants are not in a need for quarterback with the former Duke quarterback in their spot there. So I could see them using this to their advantage and getting picks and moving down. And the Chargers obviously need a quarterback. Yes. Do they want to go with taking one right out of the draft? Sure, why not? I mean, they've done that in the past. Epic fail in Ryan Leaf and epic success in Phillip Rivers. So
don't forget Drew. Come on,
yeah, and Drew Brees too. So they've been playing that game pretty well. So I can see that West Coast guy Justin Herbert going to school in Oregon, and keep it on the West Coast. I know people like that. So I can legitimately see what Burrow, Tua, Justin going in 1-3-4, something like that. I could see that situation.
Okay, so since you're the Chargers guy, and obviously I think the Chargers need to extend an invitation to you for the first home game, just because that would be the right thing to do. Because
once I'm allowed to leave my house, yes.
Yes, to bring in your loyalties. But let's say you're the Chargers brain trust. With limited OTAs and all that's going to be, you're telling me you're going to trade up.
Yep.
Take a pick that high, and how long is he going to sit behind Tyrod Taylor, or is he starting out of the gate? What are you doing?
You keep him Tyrod Taylor, and who is spectacular, hot, plays it well. He's going to love living in that warmer weather, and you learn the system. At least, let's put it this way: always get them through one season. See where they are. Hope that health isn't an issue. Learn from. If anyone could ever follow the extreme scenario of being a backup quarterback and not getting on the field and being a success, still falls to Steve Young. How many years was Steve Young behind Joe Montana? Right, years. I mean, we're talking like it might have been close to 5 to 6 seasons. And then
was it that long?
Oh, it was that long.
Because I thought you were going to go Green Bay and Brett Favre.
Right, and those are there. But this was the one, and with incredible success, obviously learning under the best, knowing a system, and then just exploding, and being smarter and physically not beat up, which was a huge deal. So you need to learn a little bit. And you could take the exact opposite situation, be like Peyton Manning and come straight out of the NFL and start playing and get, pummeled in the first season, or Troy Aikman, or any of these guys who get out there and, by the way, eventually succeed because they're just so talented and so great. it's the situation you're in. But if you have the opportunity to rest your quarterback and get him to learn, you do. I think every GM wants the QB to learn the system, watch how it plays, get a feel for the game from the sidelines as in the brain part of the game versus the physical piece, which still takes time to develop, which obviously you cannot switch being on the sidelines to actually the experience you get on the field. And these guys, all they want to do is play. That's what they want. But to put yourself in the right position to set yourself up for success. So that would be my thought if I was running the show there.
Got it. And it's true, even though there's a new stadium and all this, and since Tom Brady has broken every Charger fan's hearts, okay, I would say the expectations for the Chargers are nil. So
that's true.
I don't think there's pressure, right? Well, we have to start this kid and then
and there's differences. Look, even in New York, let's look at you had their quarterback now took a little bit. They kept, you had the Eli quarterback conflict going on in New York for some time. But I will tell you, it's smart. You learn the system. It's a different game. The quarterback position is so different than any other thing in football. And yeah, you cannot sacrifice the time behind the center, but behind the sidelines or on the side of the field, getting a view, understanding play calling, selection, and all that, and still playing and practicing is key. And
you got to learn how to be a pro. I mean, people we forget the human side. Since we're talking life leadership in the NFL, when was the last time you moved your family across the country? Okay, had to find a place to live, have to assimilate. You don't know anybody. All of a sudden, okay, here you're in this team. You got to figure out what it's like to be a pro. You got to figure out where you're living. You got to figure out where to buy food. You got to. It's a huge deal. And a lot of people think especially see these mid-season trades and all this stuff. I mean, it's so hilarious. If every coach's dream, especially, like the Belichicks or, you talked, San Francisco 49ers and that whole tree. And, every coach's dream, Landry, the whole thing is to have a robot, right? To do exactly what you tell them to do, when to tell them to do it the right way, right? No human error. But we don't want to watch robot football. We want to watch human. And so,
although right now I would take robot football. I would take anything. Just a quick sidebar here. I have to share this story. On Friday and Saturday night, I can't remember. I think it was Saturday night. I'm sorry. Don't want to get this wrong. My son says, "Dad, turn on ESPN." We turn on the main channel of ESPN, not ESPN2, not ESPN News, not the Ocho.
Not Ocho.
Not the Ocho. No, the ESPN, the main ESPN channel. And what is on the main ESPN channel? An NBA 2K video game competition between NBA players playing the video game live on ESPN.
Yes.
In a tournament. And wait, here's the best part. We watched it. We watched about 45 minutes of this. I then subsequently, by the way, on Sunday, sat behind my son while he was playing his own season of NBA 2K, playing a friend of his or playing in a league that he's developed. I was watching it, first of all, because for those who haven't seen this basketball game, the graphics and effects are so unbelievable. We are like millisteps away from literally turning on the TV and not knowing if you're watching the real LeBron James or the animated version.
Yeah.
It's so incredible. That's my sidebar thing. It was amazing, but literally that's how desperate we are for sports. And we actually were watching people play video games on TV.
And what's interesting is that road was paved, as it doesn't shock me. That road was paved by, and now I'm trying to remember Fortnite, when the Fortnite craze hit last year.
Yep.
And there were people that were making millions of dollars a game to have people watch these people play.
It's incredible.
And I was like, wait a minute, you're not even playing. You're paying money to watch other people play. Yeah.
Evan,
I was like,
wait, listen to this. During halftime of one of the games that the two players were playing, I believe it was Derek Jones Jr. and Kevin Durant.
Okay.
They were playing each other, and Derek beat Kevin. That's irrelevant. But anyway, at the halftime, they have a 12-year-old kid, I think his name is Miles Brown, who was the winner of an NBA 2K competition sometime earlier this year or last year, who's getting paid like sponsorship dollars at the age of 12 and making that other revenue as a top NBA 2K player in their system. But this is where we're heading. And if esports ever wanted to say, "Oh, you're making fun of us now," so anyway, in the category of other sports, I cannot believe that I was watching this the other day.
Yes, you were watching esports.
I was watching two guys play video games.
Yes,
on television.
So I get it. Here's the other part. Here's the other shocker again. Going back to watching others. Play,
go back to your robots playing football.
No, but I get right. I totally get. Like, hey, I want to tune in and I want to watch Kevin Durant play this video game because it's Kevin Durant. But what shocked me about Fortnite is you have these people that are not celebrities. They are, they've gained this following just because people enjoy watching them play Fortnite. And that was like really the eye opener of like, wow, you're going to watch other people that aren't celebrities play this game. But yeah, this is the actual laboratory, perfect storm, bolt of lightning on the test tube, the perfect scenario for esports to take that jump because it's like, we don't have anything else. I remember seeing it on the ticker, right? I see Durant. And they even, like, who rates these people, right? Like, who's the guy seeding? Like, okay, Kevin Durant, he's a 2 seed. This guy's
I could go into it more for another episode, but that's another podcast.
Okay.
So let's do this because we got to make sure I'm watching the clock. I want to make sure our listeners entertained.
We're on the clock. Okay.
So we do have, we've done our trivia. We did our timely. Now we got to do our timeless.
Yes.
This timeless one I think is appropriate. It is April 6th, the time we're recording this. If you're listening to this, it's probably April 8th. And just over this weekend, something timeless happened. And obviously COVID-19 in New York is really serious right now. They are stating that this will be the Pearl Harbor or 9/11 this week with how many people will perish this week as they believe that this is the apex of COVID-19's effect in the New York area specifically. And with so many people there, that's why they are deeming it obviously the apex of this moment. And it's awful and it's terrible. And we will get to a point that everyone will know someone directly that died from this virus. And it's terrible. Now, with that being said, the more unbelievable effort that's going on anywhere are these hospital workers, doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, everyone, emergency EMTs who are in the front lines having to combat this terrible disease. And there is a supply issue in New York, literally, of masks and what they call PPE equipment. I don't know what PPE stands for, but PPE equipment to make sure that they have all the protective gear that they need to treat all these patients and fight this virus. Out of the blue, out of nowhere, an NFL owner charters his team's jet and flies it to China to get a tremendous amount of supplies of masks and all this equipment, unbelievable amounts of equipment, to turn it around basically overnight, to stock it up in China, put it on the plane, and then the plane flies back in to New York to land to deliver these supplies for the New York hospital areas. Now, while this is amazing for anyone to do and incredibly charitable, this came from a New England Patriot himself, Mr. Robert Kraft, giving the gift to New York. Now, for those who listen, obviously, whether it's the Jets and the Patriots who play twice a year or every year and don't like each other so much. Obviously, the rivalry with the Giants and the Patriots over 2 Super Bowls has also hit epic proportions, with the Giants winning 2 of them within 4 years in 08 and 12. I was watching this on the news, and I've met Robert Kraft in person. He's a, to use a term of my people's people, he is a mensch. And he is a really nice guy, very smart businessman. And, he hasn't had some good PR of late with some activities that he had when he was in Florida, but we'll skip that right now. This was wonderful. This was really a timeless thing to do and such a great thing to, use your money for good and to help the people in need most. And when I saw that, I said, I can't wait to talk to Evan about this, because talk about leadership and messaging and doing the right things. A lot of people right now are trying to figure out what to do. How do I get my business reshifted? How do I deal with the fact that we're at this pause in the economy and in life and in isolation for so many people? well, here's somebody stepping up to do something right to help people out. And I'm giving a golfer's clap from Lou Diamond to Robert KRAFT on doing something timeless.
Yes, 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 and yes. And that, when you shared that with me, that reminded me of this great Helen Keller quote that I had just read. And it's tremendous. She worded it differently, but I'll walk you guys through it. But the bottom line is, it's this attitude of, I hear people all the time listen, well, that's easy for Bob KRAFT. He's got a jet and he's got a this and he's got a that. So what can you do?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. That's what Robert KRAFT could do, because he's Robert KRAFT. But what can you do? So Helen Keller said this. She said, I cannot do everything, but I can do something. Mm-hmm. This is a woman who, for those who don't remember, who is deaf, blind, and mute. She says, I can do something. She says, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. So for the listeners, the NFL owners, the scouts, the CEOs, all of our fan base here, what is the something that you can do? What can you do? So I'll give you a quick Evan Money life leadership little idea of, oh gosh, I don't know what to do. And here's a perfect, easy one to break it down to the litmus test here. Do something that brings you joy, that helps others, and gives God the glory. If you're in that sweet spot, you win every time and everybody else wins. So what's something that brings you joy, that's going to help others, and can give God the glory? And if you don't like, looking at the money that we look at and God we trust, just something that that makes others feel great. Just what brings you joy and helps others. Go do that today. You don't need to wait. You can do it today. You've got plenty of free time. So focus on the something you can do.
I think that falls under the mic drop moment, and I can't think of a better way to put a period on this lovely episode of Diamond Cuts Money Talks, my friend.
Glorious.
So, to all our listeners out there, thank you for listening, and keep thriving onward and upward. And
life is tremendous.
You've been listening to Diamond Cuts Money Talks with Lou Diamond and Evan Money. Download, subscribe, and listen wherever you get your podcasts. And share this episode with your friends in the Good Pods app. Thanks for listening.